Alright, so number one, we're not going to talk about how I'm wearing the exact same Beyonce fit because it's called bulk filming and you gotta do that in order to get the content up for y'all to consume. And number two, we're not going to talk about how I'm surrounded by all of these books here that I clearly pulled off my shelves for this video, but that I haven't read yet. I don't know what's wrong with me. Let's just get into the video. Hey y'all, welcome to or welcome back to my channel, Scotty Cherie Reads, featuring Luna back here, who's in for another video. So, what we're gonna do today is this is going to be a part one video of popular Booktube books that I have not read yet. And I want you guys to leave comments to let me know if it's worth it or not. So to give a backstory about this video, this is an idea I've had for a long time because even though I'm a fairly new Booktube content creator, I've been consuming videos on Booktube for a long time, probably at least since 2012. So I have a long list of books from Booktubers that I've loved, that I've bought from their recommendation, and they have just sat there on my shelves. So I just need your help to help me prioritize this, and I'm thinking of creating a new series where whatever's voted on in each genre, because these are going to be based on genre or split up per genre, then doing reading vlogs, reading these Booktube highly requested videos that are popular, and see if it's worth the hype, if I should have bought the book, and what my feelings are towards those books. So in this part one video, we're going to be going over fantasy books, sci-fi books, mystery and thriller. I combine those because I don't have a lot of mystery books in general, and then horror. So grab a drink and let's have a pen so you guys can write down the ones that you want me to read, and let's just get right into it. Alright, so jumping right into the first genre, which is fantasy. And I feel like y'all are gonna give me the most flack for this genre because there are a lot of really popular books on here that I own that I haven't even picked up at all. So let's start with the one that is the most obvious for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people have read it, but there's also a lot of people who are fantasy readers that have not picked this one up because the movies are so good. And that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have read The Hobbit, and I've read it a couple times and really liked it, but for whatever reason, I mean, this is pretty daunting. So I just haven't gotten into it. I never read it as a kid or anything. I'm not even gonna go over what this is about because everyone and their mother knows what the Lord of the Ring trilogy is. It's a staple, it's a classic, it's one of, like, if you like fantasy, you have to read this. So obviously I will at some point, but it's just gonna be a journey to tackle these books. But I do have them here when the itch arises. Alright, the next one we have here is Jade City by Fonda Lee. So hear me out. So I bought this one a while ago, and at the time when I bought it, that tells you how long I've had this, the series was not completed. However, now it is, and I just still haven't even picked up the first book. However, I am proud of myself because I've only bought the first one and I haven't bought the other two yet. So at least I only bought the first in this series before getting all of the other ones. So I'm hoping to read this one fairly soon. I am going to read the back really quickly because I don't know a lot about this series. All I know is that it's like a lot of people's modern favorite fantasy book. So it says, for centuries, honorable green-bone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kikon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over, and a new generation vies for control of Kikon's bustling capital city. Four siblings of the powerful Kull family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. So that's really quick. I think another way people pitch it is like it's kind of like gangster or like mobster-esque, like Hong Kong like gangster film-esque. If you like Jade City and you're like, why the hell haven't you picked it up, please put it in the comments. I want to get around to it eventually. Another one here is one that I talk about a lot, and there is a reason why I haven't picked up this chunker, which is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I'm going through Brandon Sanderson in the Cosmere order, so I'm actually still trying to get through the Mistborn trilogy. I don't want to say like trying to in terms of I'm not enjoying it, because I very much am. It's just sometimes in the Well of Ascension I get into the middle or like first third and it's a little bit slower, and then I tend to put it down for something a little more fast-paced. And I just need to push through because I know the ending is going to be great. I love Sanderson's writing from what I've read. And then I think after that trilogy, I want to read Warbreaker, and then I'm going to go into The Way of Kings. So I'm hoping to do that and have this read or at least started by the end of the year. So there's obviously a Booktube favorite here that I need to pick up. Alright, so this is a bit of a throwback, but this is one when I started way back in like 2010, 2011, 2012 with watching Booktube videos. This one was everywhere, and you still see this one on people's like all-time favorite lists. And that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So honestly, I don't know a lot about this, aside from people saying that Erin Morgenstern has really pretty and immersive writing, and that it's about a traveling circus with magic. So I'm not even going to read the back because I kind of would like to just dive into it blind. I've never read anything with the circus, but I see like a magical circus kind of being a really cool like escapism world to get into. So does this one hold up to the hype? Because I haven't, obviously it came out a while ago. Actually, let me see when this was published. So it was published in 2011, around the time that booktubers were really talking about it, and it was like every single booktuber was talking about it. It had just recently come out, so let me know if this holds up, you know, over 10 years later. Okay, and the next one I have here are new-ish within the past like 5 years, especially during the pandemic. These books were everywhere and they still are. And I actually have two from this one author, and that is Madeline Miller, which I have The Song of Achilles and I have Circe here. These are both Greek retellings, and I've mentioned in previous videos that I would like to reread the Iliad and the Odyssey first before going into these. However, I keep saying that and then I don't pick them up, and now, like I said, it's years and years and I haven't picked these up. I know that you don't have to, so maybe if this is your vote and this is one that you really want me to pick up, just leave a comment and let me know and be like, Scotty, don't feel like a completionist. You don't need to read the Iliad and the Odyssey in order to understand it or to get everything you need out of it. I need that push a little bit. And let me know which one of these two you liked the most, but these are definitely really hyped and I have not picked them up yet. Alright, I just have two more in the adult fantasy section. The next one is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. So I don't have a physical copy of this one, but I do have it on my Kindle. So I have it, it's ready to go. And I don't really know why I haven't picked this one up, because out of all of these, like, this one's a standalone, which is awesome, because a lot of the times I can get, you know, in my head about starting a new trilogy or whatever and feeling committed and locked into that series, but you don't get a lot of like epic fantasies that are standalones, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. I honestly don't know a lot. I just know that it's a mom and a son and there's tragedy at the end, and that is all. So let me actually like look up on Goodreads like what a quick synopsis is for this book, just for you guys to know. Give me 1 second. Okay, so just a quick synopsis. I'm going to read the first couple sentences because I don't want to know too much going into it. It says, a mother struggling to repress her violent past, a son struggling to grasp his violent future, a father blind to the danger that threatens them all. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want, this is a pretty in-depth synopsis if you can see it there. So I just don't want to be spoiled. Like I said, I like to go into books like fairly blind, just like reading a little blurb. I just know that one's really popular right now and I see it all over the place. Let me know if I should pick that one up. And then last and final one for the adult fantasy section is any book by Robin Hobb. I actually have not bought any yet because, as you can tell, I have too many series that I've purchased already. And Robin Hobb has multiple book series that you can read. But I think I need to start with Fool's Assassin, I want to say. I'll put it here if I'm wrong. I'll correct myself. Editing Scotty from the future will put it here. But I haven't bought that one yet because I'm just a little intimidated by Robin Hobb's world. And I feel like Robin Hobb's books are kind of like polarizing. Like some people absolutely love them. Like people have been reading this like the Realmathon that's been going on, this readathon for forever. I thought about starting it and then got scared. I don't know why I didn't do it, but some people that are in my like friend group and stuff are people that I really follow as well, are kind of starting to read some of Robin Hobb's books again. So I have a little tickle to pick those up, but I'm just pretty intimidated. So let me know if those are worth it or if you would prioritize some of the others that I talked about before going into Robin Hobb. So yeah, now let's go into young adult fantasy, which should be pretty quick, but I did want to mention some because those are books that are hyped on Booktube quite a bit. All right, jumping into the young adult fantasy section, which, like I said, a lot of these books were hyped forever. So this is the genre that I'm really interested in because I have moved away from reading a lot of young adult books. Once in a while, if someone can convince me to pick up a young adult fantasy now, like I will. So I'm excited to see like if you guys say that it's still worth it and it holds up and I should still pick it up, or if you're like, okay, Scotty, if you haven't read it at this point, probably don't read it, or it was overhyped to begin with. I'm going to begin with The Diviners by Lebo Bray. Another thing which is good about this one is I only have bought in the first book, so not a big commitment. I'm proud of myself that I haven't bought the whole series yet. But I'm gonna read the back for this one because I don't know a lot about this. It says, "Do you believe there are ghosts and demons and diviners among us? Evie O'Neill has been exiled from her boring old hometown and shipped off to the bustling streets of New York City, and she is positively ecstatic. It's 1926, and New York is filled with speakeasies, Ziegfeld girls, and rakish pickpockets. The only catch is that she has to live with her Uncle Will and his unhealthy obsession with the occult. Evie worries he'll discover her darkest secret, a supernatural power that has only brought her trouble so far, and when the police call Will to a crime scene of a murdered girl branded with a cryptic symbol, Evie realizes her gift could help catch a serial killer. As Evie jumps headlong into a dance with the murderer, other stories unfold in the city that never sleeps, and unknown to all, something dark and evil has awakened." So this sounds kind of interesting. I know that Ashley at Bookish Realm really, really liked this one, and she was a big reason of why I picked this up, and she still kind of raves about this book, or this book series as a whole. I wanted to read the back, and that takes a little bit of time, because people are probably like, this has been around for forever, but I could not remember what it was about, and since it's a 4 or 5 book series, I didn't think too much was going to be spoiled from that one. So again, this one came out in 2012, so yeah, if you like this one, let me know. Okay, so this one is one of the most hype young adult fantasy series like ever, and that is the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom duology. So there's also a reason why I haven't read these yet. I read Shadow and Bone, so I've read the first 2 books, and I'm thinking that I'm going to be reading the 3rd book to conclude that trilogy this month, which I'm filming this in August. I'm not sure when this is gonna go up. Like, you don't have to read the Shadow and Bone trilogy in order to pick these up. It's kind of polarizing, but I'm a completionist, so I'm going to. But let me know if these hold up to the hype. I'm not going to read the synopsis because it's kind of adjacent to the world I'm already in, and I don't want to give any spoilers. I'd rather just jump into this. All I know is it's a heist fantasy book, and people love these characters and are really connected to the series. So this one's one that I unfortunately have not read yet. Okay, I'm gonna quickly run through these 2 series, and I haven't read any of these books in either of these series, and that is The Shadowhunter World by Cassandra Clare and Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Let me know if one or the other you suggest me reading. If you're like, if you haven't read it now, don't read it. I have read other Sarah J. Maas books. So I have read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm looking forward to reading A Court of Mist and Fury, but I have not read any of Cassandra Clare at all, so I don't know what her writing style is, but obviously there are Booktube darlings, and they took over the world. They still are. People still love them, so let me know if that's worth it or not. And the last one I have here for the young adult fantasy genre is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. So I haven't read Laini Taylor at all, but this is the one that I'm the most interested in compared to the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. So this is the only one that I own. I haven't bought Muse of Nightmares, which is the second one in this duology yet. And honestly, I don't want to know a lot about this one because I've been told to go into it blind. All I know is that the main character, Laszlo Strange, is kind of a strange guy, and there's the city of Weep that people talk about, and some people don't believe that it existed, but Laszlo Strange is one of the people that really, really hardcore believes that this exists, and people think that he's kind of crazy. But then I think Weep is found, and it's us just discovering what Weep is. This sounds really interesting to me. People say it's really flowery, beautiful writing. I don't know how I feel about that, and it's a little bit of a thick book. I feel like that's why I haven't read it, but if you liked this one, let me know. That's it for the fantasy section. Now we're going to move into mystery and thriller that I have combined into one section. Let's go. Okay, so now we're going to move into the science fiction genre. So moving forward, the only one that I separated adult and young adult from was fantasy. All of these other genres are going to be adult books because generally for young adult, like I said, I don't read a lot, but I'm mostly drawn to fantasy and young adult contemporary. So let's just get right into the popular science fiction books that I have not read yet. To start, I want to talk about Mr. Andy Weir. Specifically, I want to talk about Project Hail Mary because this one is really hyped right now, but I could also throw in The Martian. So I listened to The Martian a long time ago, but I never finished it. And I've watched the movie. However, I want to give Project Hail Mary a chance. Everyone loves this book. People say even if you don't like sci-fi, this is one that you can easily get into. And I honestly haven't dabbled in, I don't know how much I like science fiction. This is a genre that I need recommendations and suggestions for sci-fi that you think that I'll like. Mainly I've read science fiction short stories, and I really like those, but I haven't really read a full novel. But anyway, this is a story about an astronaut who wakes up in space, and I think everyone else on his crew is dead, and he has amnesia. Not sure how I feel about that trope, but I would give it a try. And he's just kind of figuring out how he got there, how he can get home, etc., etc., what happened, all that stuff. I know this one's really loved, and I own it, so let me know if I should pick this one up. Okay, this is a series that I picked up just the first one, which is awesome, and that is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. So these are all novellas, and there are quite a few in this series, and I don't think that it's wrapped up yet. I'll put down here exactly how many are released and if she's still writing. I believe that she is. I've only bought the first one yet, but for some reason I haven't picked it up, even though it's a little novella. All I know is that it's about Murderbot, which is this bot that murders, and people love the humor and Murderbot's personality, and that's all that I want to know for this book. Let me know if this is one that I should pick up because it's on my shelves and it has been for a long time. Okay, another staple in the sci-fi world is Adrian Tchaikovsky, and the book that I have here is Children of Time. All I know about this is it's about giant spiders in space. The person that told me about this one, that raved about it a lot, that I really like her recommendations, is Emily Fox over by Books with Emily Fox. And obviously there are a lot of people that like Tchaikovsky, but she's someone who was kind of getting into sci-fi, and I really enjoyed her perspective and how she talked about this book. So I went and bought it, but never picked it up. I'm a little intimidated by this because I know that he's a classic sci-fi writer, and I just don't know how intense it's gonna be with scientific information. I mean, I like science, but I've just never really read it in here, and if I'm gonna enjoy it in a novel for escapism. If you think it's worth it, obviously, I keep saying, I need to stop saying it. Leave it in the comments and let me know if it's worth the hype or not. Okay, the next one on here is one that has a TV show adaptation, so that kind of it pushes me to want to pick it up. However, the series is long and the books are thick, so that's what has stopped me so far. And that is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, another staple in the sci-fi world. Don't know anything about this. I think this is a space opera, potentially. Honestly, this doesn't sound like anything that I would really like, but people have raved about this TV show so much that I picked it up when it was on sale. I only have the first one, so let me know if this is one that I should pick up or if I should just watch the TV show adaptation. Next, we have one that still shows up a lot on people's all-time favorites list, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone, or Amal Motor. So I guess it's dual author. Sorry if I got that wrong. There's two, which is interesting because I don't know if I've read a book that has two authors, so that would be cool. All I know is that this is a time travel story where there are two different people or beings, one's red and one's blue, and they're chasing each other in this time war, and they're on opposite ends of the war, or opposite sides of the war, but eventually they fall in love, I believe, because they leave these notes for each other, which sounds a little confusing, but it sounds really awesome. And people say that there's nothing else like this book, and it's really unique, which I think is why it's scared me away a little bit, but I am eager to pick it up. So let me know if you've read it and what your thoughts are. So then we go into a genre called cozy sci-fi. So I've read cozy fantasy from like Legends and Lattes, but I've never read cozy sci-fi, and I'm intrigued because people love Becky Chambers. And the book that I have here is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I know that this is in space, obviously. It's like part of the Wayfarer series. So there are multiple other books in this series. I think they're companion novels. And all I know is that people say it's really heavily like character driven. I think there is plot in here, but they say to read it for the characters and the cozy, comfy feels. You know, when I'm in the mood for something comfy, this is one that I can gravitate towards. But let me know if this is like the epitome of comfy sci-fi, or if you have another book that you think is worth the hype more than this one. The last one in the section I have is Station 11. So I don't have a physical copy, but I do own it on my Kindle. And this one is one that everyone talks about. And all I know is it is post-apocalyptic, where there's like people, like a Shakespeare guild that's traveling and trying to survive, I think. I don't know, that doesn't sound super intriguing to me, like just from what I've heard about it, but the way that people talk about this book makes me want to pick it up, and that's why I got it on Kindle. So let me know, like, if you've seen some of my videos and stuff, if you think it actually will be my taste, or if you're like, nah, you could probably skip on it and watch the TV show adaptation, because there is an adaptation for this as well. I don't know if it's TV show or movie, but I know that there is a film or some sort of adaptation for this one. That is the sci-fi section, so let's move into mystery thriller, which I have combined into one category. To start with the mystery thriller category, I want to start with one of the OG staples of the mystery genre, which is Agatha Christie, and that is And Then There Were None, which is the basis for a lot of other mystery books and stories out there. Like, there are so many books that people love that has been a direct replica of that story. So even though I know Agatha Christie is problematic, she lived in a different time, but regardless, I am aware of that. I don't own a physical copy, but I do have it on my Kindle, or I have access to it on my Kindle, and that's one that I would like to start or read sometime soon, because I'm not really big into the mystery genre. A lot of the times I choose to pick up thrillers, but I am interested to pick up mysteries. But I would like to start with the OG of that genre. Let me know if that's one that I should read, or if you're like, nah, Scotty, you're not gonna like it, and just pick up some of the other adaptations from that story. Okay, the next one I have here was talked about so much when I first started Bookstagram, or when I started watching videos, and that is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. So this is a thriller mystery book. I'm not sure which way it leans, if it's more thriller or more mystery, but it's a mixed media form book, which is really intriguing, where there's like newspaper articles and mixed media in here. And all I know is that the main character's dad is like a notorious filmmaker. And I don't know if he's dead or alive, but there are these murders that are starting to show up that seem connected in some way to him and these films and his family. And I believe that's what I remember. I might be a little off, but that is like what I remember, but it's been probably a decade since I picked this up. That's crazy to hear out, like that's wild to hear out loud, but it's the truth. Let me know if this still holds up to the hype from when this was talked about way back in the day on Booktube. Another classic author in this thriller category is Karen Slaughter. And I've never read a book by Karen Slaughter. This is the only one that I own, Pretty Girls. And I hear these are like really, really brutal, and they're trigger, like people are like, if you have any triggers, like definitely look them up, because they're all in her books. And honestly, like that's the shit that I look for, like really taboo stuff, to be honest. So I don't know why I haven't picked this up. I feel like honestly no one needs to even like tell me to pick it up. I just need to, and it's just a good reminder talking about it in this video. Just let me know, I guess, if there's a Karen Slaughter book that you think I should start with before reading Pretty Girls, or if this one is a fun one to start with, because I am eager to pick this one up. I don't need a lot of sway, to be honest. The next Booktube darling that we have in this category is No Exit by Taylor Adams. So I read The Last Word by this author at the end of last year, I believe, and really enjoyed it. So I don't know why I haven't picked this one up. And a lot of people say that they like this one more than The Last Word. And this one came out beforehand, so this is like most people's favorite. But I see this on the best thrillers of all time list like constantly. I don't want to know a lot about it because obviously it's a thriller and I don't want to be spoiled. But the back says 13 hours, 4 strangers, 1 missing child. No exit. She knows her odds. She'll fight anyway. That's all I need. Just let me know if it actually holds up to the hype and I should pick it up. Okay, another one that's around all over the place right now is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. So I actually don't own this one, but I wanted to put it in this video because, I don't know, it just wasn't, Frida McFadden just seemed like not an author that I would love. Like, she just seemed kind of like an airport read. Like, I mean, that sounds really shitty, but like, I don't know, but people who normally don't read those kind of books, you know, just popcorn thrillers and stuff, are still hyping up this book specifically in this series. And I think the second book like won the award for Goodreads last year. I'll put it here so you know exactly what it's called and what it looks like. Because the hype is so big, I'm like, what am I missing out on? So let me know if you've read it and if you think I'll like it and if I should pick it up, because that's one that's all over the place right now. And the last one in this category is on everyone's list, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Obviously, Donna Tartt is one of people's favorite author in general because she also wrote The Goldfinch. But this is what people say started like dark academia, like that genre, and that's like been a very popular thing recently, like post-COVID. So I haven't read the OG of that yet. So this is a whole other thing too when we talk about mystery thriller, but this is its own subcategory of dark academia, which I haven't gotten into yet. So it's a little bit dense, you know, I don't want to know a lot about it, but some people say it's worth it, some people say it's not. I know it's really controversial, and some people talk about some of the race elements that are in here and that there's other books you should pick up instead. So I'm really curious about that, and if you have any suggestions, put them down below. But yeah, let me know if you're like, I don't even care, you can kind of separate the author from the work and just get into it because it's really, really worth it. So let me know. Let's get on to the next category, which is horror, and it is our final category in this part 1 video. Welcome to the horror genre. So for this one, we're gonna start and get him out of the way, which is Stephen King. So I am currently reading Carrie, and I have read other Stephen King books before and have loved them, but now I'm interested to go back and read his books in publication order. I'm still deciding if I want to read every single book, even if it seems like it might not be my cup of tea, because there are some of those and I'm like, I'm not really sure if I need to read, like Christine, for instance. But here are some of the ones that I have on my shelves right now that I haven't read. So let me know what some of your favorites are. There's Salem's Law I haven't read yet. Cujo, Firestarter, Doctor Sleep, The Stand, Pet Sematary, Misery, the Bachman books. So yeah, I mean, I say that I want to do this challenge of reading it in publication order, but I might just get sick and tired of that because his backlog is ridiculous. I'll put the number down here for how many books he has. So let me know if some of these that I just ran through are actually worth it. Like the big ones, Misery, Pet Sematary, The Stand. The Stand, definitely, because that one is big as hell. This is like one of the biggest books that I own. I have read it and I really liked it, so just let me know if any of these are worth it or what your favorite Stephen King book is. But if we're talking about popular books on YouTube that people talk about all the time, it's Stephen King, and I have not read all of his stuff at all. Okay, the next one I'm really intrigued about knowing how y'all feel about it, and that is The Troop by Nick Cutter. This is a Booktube darling. Like, anytime anyone talks about horror, this book always comes up. And what's funny is that for my local book club, last year we read The Deep by this author, and I really did not like that book. Like the writing, the storytelling, like it didn't really make any sense. The writing wasn't really good. So then it put me on pause to read this book, even though I was really excited to read The Troop. Well, another thing that deters me from this is people say it's kind of like modern day Lord of the Flies, and I read Lord of the Flies last year, and I really didn't like that classic. Like, it didn't hit for me like it seemed like it hit for other people. So I'm like, I don't know, like this just pushed this back. back on my TBR a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it says that there's like a troop of boys that are on a camping trip and they get stuck. And everyone says that this one's like body horror done right. And I do love horror, like body horror and very gruesome things that when you read it on the page and you feel like that visceral feeling, like I really love that. So just let me know if this is one that you're like, okay, the Deep was terrible, like it actually isn't similar to Lord of the Flies, or does it better? Just let me know if you think that I should pick this one up or not. Here's another Booktube darling as well that people really, really, really love, especially all the girlies out there, and that is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. So my completionist ass hasn't picked this up because I haven't read Dracula yet, or Camilla yet. So this is a story about one of Dracula's wives and the domestic abuse that she suffered living with Dracula. That's all I know. That's all I really want to know. I don't even know that much about Dracula, so I was like, okay, I should probably read Dracula and then Camilla and then read this. I don't know, the hype is real and I feel like I'm left out because so many girlies love this book. So let me know if it lives up to the hype or if it doesn't, and if I should pick it up anytime soon. Alright, we've come to the last book, and this is the one that I'm most intimidated by, and that is this brick, House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. So all I know is this is like, I think it's like a book within a book, and it's talking about basically a house that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And the way that you read this book, it's kind of mixed media. I don't know if you can see. I'm sure everyone kind of knows what this is like, but like some of it you have to like read in the mirror and read upside down and backwards, and it just seems challenging. And honestly, the people that have read this and rave about it, they say it's like the best thing in the world. But I have also seen other people on Booktube talk about how it was a waste of their time and it was a cool experience, but like they don't think you have to suffer through how long it takes to get through this book. I want to know, I feel like the hype is like most of it is positive feelings after people have read this book. But if you've read it, let me know if it's worth it, if it's worth the hype. I gotta know for this one, because this one I'm really, really intrigued with. All right, that was the end of part 1. I don't think I need to explain anymore what I need y'all to do. So give me your votes and your opinions down below. Other than that, that's it. That's all. Look out for part 2 here soon, and I'll catch y'all in the comments. Until then, bye.